Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to the new video. Here in this particular video, I am going to share my one of the recent interview experience where let me set a kind of expectation or a brief before moving further. The interview was for DevOps come DevSecOps role, I can say, and the experience range was 3 to 3.5 years, and it was a first technical discussion, and it went well. And there is a lot of questions which was asked in this particular interview in the first level, and I have a very good habit, I can say, where I used to note all the questions after once the interview was done. And as a part of that, one day I thought, why don't I share this to the people who is preparing for the similar roles? This might be helpful for them. So that is the where I took a initiative and sharing this kind of response. Okay, and one more thing, I will put the questions in the description also. Whoever preparing, you can take it. Why? Because it is a very real time. So you can also face the similar kind of questions based upon your interviewer and your what we can say job description, like that. Okay, in the earlier video I have already shared a kind of information regarding this particular job opportunity, and due to some constraint, I am not going to disclose some sensitive data of the company or myself. So okay, the main intention was to just wanted to share a kind of real-time scenarios, how it should be, and how the how much in-depth can be expected for this level of experience, like that. Okay, that is the main intention. Okay, without wasting time, let's move further and have a discussion around the questions. Okay, I will provide a kind of a response from my end also to the as a answerable to that particular question, and I highly recommend to not stick or finalize this response only. You can what I can say, you can also go and try yourself, how you should answer in that particular way. Okay, if you are not able to answer or get any idea or something on that, you can Google it, or you can search in ChatGPT, so that you can be prepared, and you can be prepared for real interviews also. Okay, let's move further. The first question was regarding the CICD pipeline. Can you describe the end-to-end CICD pipeline you have implemented in your current project, and which tools have you used and why you have chosen that? In my current organization, I have built a CI/CD pipeline, which is for different microservices applications are running in that. Majorly, we use GitLab CI/CD, and we use also a Jenkins also, where the developer pushes in the code into a Git or GitLab repository, and it will runs the. It will, once the commit is done, it will start running the pipeline, and it will perform your unit test cases, and we are going to build a project by using Maven, and there are different build tools based upon the project requirement. We are going to use that, like Gradle and MS build, like that. And later we are going to perform a scans, a kind of a static application security testing by using SonarQube, and we are also going to perform a SEA analysis by using Trivy. And later, once the application is deployed in the Docker container, then we are going to scan the Docker images by using the Trivy as a tool, and then we are going to deploy that into a testing environment, and further process approvals, we are going to deploy a UAT or production environment. Okay, this is how the flow. And while explaining the CI/CD CI/CD architecture, try to build your own, whatever your current existing ecosystem. Try to explain as simple as possible, and don't get more complicated or stuck in between. Okay, try to simplify that. Okay, and moving further, the next question was, how do you manage a Docker image versions to avoid the latest tag for all? Okay, So basically for maintaining a Docker images, we enforce immutable tagging, whereby embedding the git commit SHA values and image tags we are going to explicitly specify, and we are going to use that specific tag itself. Okay, and by that we avoid latest entirely in the production level, and in the deployments we reference explicit tags by specifying. So rollbacks are deterministic, we can say. And yeah, moving to the next question, explain how you handle application configuration and the secrets in Kubernetes. Basically, we can use Kubernetes secrets for managing non-sensitive data, especially secrets and encrypted. And within the Helm charts, we can use specific values of that configured secrets, so that it will be stored very securely. Okay, and moving to the further question, you mentioned a Terraform in your resume. How do you structure Terraform modules for reuse and avoid a code duplication? It is basically a question regarding the Terraform. Okay, like how do you use Terraform modules for better uses? Okay, and basically we used to follow a module registry pattern, where each module has variable.tf, main.tf, and output.tf. So where we call a modules in the environments, and that environment specifies the input from that like whatever the modules we have written, and it will works accordingly. Okay, and moving to the next question, I mean, there might be cases where based upon your response and your knowledge on that, there might be a further cross questions, or they will move to the further questions. Okay, and in one of the recent interview, I faced a kind of lot of cross questions actually. At the end of the interview, I listed down all the questions. It was almost 55 questions. Okay, so there might be the case where you will get a lot of questions. Yeah, anything, it will be something new for you. Okay, and always each and every interview experience will not be the same. Okay, don't get depressed if you are not going to profile not moving further. Also try for another. Okay, moving to the next question as a process of our discussion. Give an example for an Ansible playbook you wrote to automate a routine task. Yeah, the task what I have explained was the task was we need to ensure that log rotation need to be there by using a Ansible playbook. Okay, where we are specifying the name, deploying a custom log config or something like that, and in the copy under the copy tab we are going to specify a source path and the destination path. Okay, and that will make sure the log rotation will be happened. Okay, and moving to the further question, compare how you would set up an S3 bucket static website versus an Azure blob storage hosting. Yeah, on AWS, we used to create an S3 bucket. We can enable a static website hosting option and set the index and error documents. Okay, and we can apply a bucket policy allowing a public get objects, where the public can allow to access that bucket, and we can use a route 53 for DNS and a CloudFront for CDN with a custom domain SSL, we can say. And if we see in the Azure, I would enable a Azure static website in the storage account and upload files to the that particular container. Then front it with Azure CDN or Azure front door. Both requires kind of a similar DNS or SSL setups with AWS CDK or Terraform support a felt of more mature, I can say, in my experience as of okay. And yeah, it is a kind of again practical problem solving. Write a bash one line to find all Docker containers older than 7 days and remove them. He asked you to write a command actually. He asked you to share the screen and open a notepad and write a this particular command. Okay. Basically what it does was it need to contain all the Docker containers older than 7 days, and we need to remove them also. And the next question was eighth question: have you used Prometheus Alerting to catch issues before they hit into a production? Yeah, in my resume also I have mentioned, and in the current project also I have used a Prometheus Alerting system. Whenever it was causing something, let's say some critical finding or issue was observed in the UJT or testing, so we need to make sure should not move the further into move the same critical issue into a production. Okay, so there might be different scenarios. Based upon that, you can explain to the interviewer. Okay, and the next question was regarding a CI pipeline, where he asked, walk me through how you integrate Trivy or Snyk scans into your CI/CD pipeline. Basically, Trivy and Snyk, whatever these tools are there, these are the tools which is used for SAST stage, we can say, static application security testing. And I explained the scenario where I have integrated that into a GitLab CI/CD pipeline, where we need to make sure have a installation of Trivy and Snyk also into the pipeline. And after that in the script, we need to mention the heading of that particular stage, and then we need to mention the under the script Trivy image. Let's say if we are scanning images from Trivy, we can scan the images also. Let's say we are scanning images, we can mention the image name and hyphen severity, high and critical we can mention. It's kind of a condition. Okay, basically it will checks for vulnerability in the CVS codes. And what I'm doing here was I'm just setting up if the CVS score, severity of that particular vulnerability is critical and high, it should stop. Okay, it should exit a non-zero code. Okay, so by that it will stop. And Snyk also same thing, we need to install a Snyk, and for in the script we need to write a Snyk test -security, and we can set up a threshold if we need it. Okay, and moving to the next question: how do you implement a Git branching and merge strategy in your team? Okay, basically we follow Git flow loosely, main for production ready code, and develop for integration, and future branches for some future XYZ future develop, and release branch for develop whenever it is ready. Okay, and hotfix for main or critical fixes, we created a hotfix branch, and we promote main and develop requiring merge request approvals. Okay, and it will passes after the approval, merge request approval only. This is the a kind of a high level branding strategy we have followed. And moving to the next question, a deployment failed in Kubernetes due to an image pull error. How do you diagnose and resolve this particular issue? Basically, whenever like deployment is failing due to the error, image pulling issue, first of all, we need to run a command kubectl describe pod, and pod we need to give to see what is the event, okay, and we need to perform a kubectl get secret to check whether if the registry credential secret is present, and if anything missing or expired, we can detect within there, and we can recreate it, okay, and we can check the logs also for further troubleshooting. And moving to the next question, how do you design an auto scaling strategy for a stateless microservice in AWS? Yeah, basically we can go with the blue, green, and canary deployment models. In the blue, green, we create two identical environments. One is a blue and one is a green, we can say. The traffic switches completely from blue to green upon a new release, enabling a quick rollback by switching back into that. It's ideal when you need some instance cutout with minimal overlap. In the case of canary rollout, rolls out a new version of a small subnet of user first, and it will monitors the metrics, then gradually it will increases the traffic if everything works well, okay, and that is how we can manage. And moving to the next question, what is the difference between blue, green, and canary deployments, and how do you choose each? Yeah, I think I just explained about them. Yeah, one moment. Yeah, I think earlier explanation was regarding this blue-green deployment, and regarding the auto-scaling strategies, it is also one of these things. Auto-scaling, sorry, I was confused here. Auto-scaling is basically, blue-green deployments is basically for maintaining certain rollouts and failure at the times, okay. Auto scaling is basically, let's say if some traffic was high on the particular website, then automatically it should perform a kind of horizontal pod autoscaler or vertical pod autoscaler based upon whatever the things we have specified, okay. And yeah, moving to the next question, how do you manage your build artifacts, and which repository manager have you used? We have, basically for managing artifacts, we have used Nexus repository manager to store kind of Docker images and Maven jar files and Helm charts from Kubernetes. Within GitLab, after a kind of successful build was happened, we integrated that Nexus artifact repository into the pipeline level itself, okay. And moving to the next question, how do you automate a deployment? Deployments differ on Windows servers compared to Linux. On Windows, PowerShell scripts replaces Bash, and we use a kind of WinRM, we can say, for remote management, and yeah, that is how. And moving to the next question, a service on Linux VM is consuming 100% CPU, how do you investigate that particular thing? Okay, first of all, we are going to check the PID. Like we can use top or htop to identify the PID of the service, and we can use ps-p and pod id -c, where we can trace the system calls and some pinpoint bottlenecks also, and we can also check the logs if required, and if it is something related to Java process, using Java JS stack and PID, we can use a kind of we can use JS tag and PID ID, so that we will get some kind of service usages information. And moving to the next question, describe your experience with ELK regarding the Elasticsearch, Longstack, Kibana stack. These are basically a kind of what we can say logging and monitoring tools. Okay, and the next question was how do you handle Terraform State to enable team collaboration and prevent conflicts? Basically, we are going to store state files within the S3 backend. We are using I think DynamoDB was the one, and that is how we can manage. And what is the policy as code, and which tools have you used? Basically, policy as code is something embeds the governance rules into your pipelines. We have used with some gatekeeper within the Kubernetes to enforce that all pods run non-root and image comes from approved registries. Okay, basically it will works like a gatekeeper. Okay, and how do you structure and prioritize Helm charts for multiple enrollments? It is a question regarding the Kubernetes, where how we can manage and prioritize the Helm charts for multiple enrollments. And move to the next question. Outline your approach to design a disaster recovery DR plan for cloud native applications, and a pod in Kubernetes cannot reach an external service. How do you troubleshoot this? Okay, this is a kind of a scenario question, and regarding the above question, sorry, I have forgot to mention my response. Regarding the disaster recovery designing, we need to make sure first of all we are meeting the business requirements or not, and we need to make sure use a cross region replication of storage and like S3 buckets, and we need to make sure our database is replicated in cross regions also, and we need to properly health check to maintain a kind of good environment. Okay, and move to the next question. How do you implement a least privileges access within the Kubernetes? It's a kind of role based access control, so we need to follow least privileges policy, and role bindings we need to specify explicitly. Okay, and a question regarding the GitLab scenario question. Describe the scenario where you have used a parent-child pipeline or dynamic includes a GitLab CI. Okay, I mean, basically, we use this concept within the pipelines whenever we have a job that need to be run in the not in the host machine, in the some client mission or worker node or something like that, we can say. Okay. He asked to explain the scenario. And moving to the next question, what practices did you follow to harden Docker containers? First of all, we need to use minimal base images, example Alpine we can say, and run a non-root user inside the container. Okay, that is the one of the important thing, and multi-stage builds to exclude some build time dependencies where time can be scanned, and we need to make sure scan the images with the Trivy and like tools whatever we are integrate. I mean, have a placeholder in the software development life cycle. Okay, and moving to the next question, can you describe a particularly particularly challenging production incident you faced, and how did you handle it from detection through the resolution? Okay. In the earlier organization, experienced a kind of intermittent API timeouts during some peak traffic hours. Okay, peak time. We have detected our, from the Prometheus, we have identified a alert is triggered. And then we have investigated by checking the Grafana dashboards and tracked the issue to database connection, connection database connection saturation is fine or not, and whether the connection pools were exhausted or something like that we have investigated. And coming to the mitigation part, we like a temporary increased the Kubernetes pool size, and the major the agenda of at that time was to restore the service. That is the main thing, and for that we have come up with that workaround. And later we have reviewed the application logs and discovered a leak in a connection handling in one microservices. And how we got fixed that was like a code was we patched the code to properly close the connections, and added a kind of a retry logic, and updated the Ansible playbook to deploy that fix. And coming to the prevention, we added a kind of Prometheus metrics for pool usage, and set alerts with a buffer of 80% capacity to catch the to catch that attention in the next time if anything such things happens. And moving to the next question, DevOps is consistently evolving. It is almost at the end of the interview, and he was curious something like to know how in the evolving world, how you are keep update yourself, your skills and knowledge up to date. Okay. Basically, what my response to this particular question was, I used to follow a kind of communities and blogs. I am very much active in the cloud community, and I subscribe to some channels and some DevSecOps and newsletters, and I regularly create a kind of YouTube tutorials also in my personal YouTube channel to share the knowledge, and it's a continuous learning. Okay, so this is what exactly I have shared. And moving to the final question, I guess the question is uh, in this particular question, my questions are included. Do you have any queries for me about the team, the role, or next steps? Basically, he didn't ask the question like this. For just for reference, I mentioned like this. The question was just simply like, is there any questions you have, or else we are good to conclude, like that he asked. I asked a kind of question where it is basically aligning the team size and work regarding that. Like what exactly the like project technologies currently using, and what is the team size currently working on that particular project, and what will be the, like, let's say if me or someone hired to this particular position, what will be the like a first focus in the sense initial focus, let's say some 3 to 6 months, what will be the main focus? Okay, is there any timing like that? I mean, these are the kind of some 2 to 3 questions I have asked, and yeah, the discussion went well, and yeah, let's see what is going to become. And one more thing I wanted to say here was, some videos, interview discussion videos, I'm not uploading a kind of second round and further updates like that. Okay, so whatever the thing I was updating, after getting the updates, I was updating, and if I didn't get any update or I was rejected, I was mostly they won't send like direct mail or something like that. They won't even communicate. Okay, and sometimes they will say like you are not selected to the further discussion, and if long time no update means that is also an indication of your profile not moving further. Okay, so yeah, I think the option is to you only, why I am not uploading a second round of interview after first round for some video, for some like companies. Okay, so the response is that like there is no further update from them. Okay, okay, stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much for watching the video.